I felt lied to. I wasn't sure what was going on. Something told me I wasn't getting the full story. Is this really the best it can get?
I knew as soon as I had gone I was looking for more.
There's something missing.
The longer you're around it, the more you start to question. Are they right? Am I wrong? What's being misunderstood?
Today on The.Gear.Locker, we're exposing the truth on the Milsim Industrial Complex. Now before we begin, I would like to comment. The thought of a Milsim company being the one true Milsim is absurd. However, there are many other companies that claim to be Milsim. But first we have to define what is Milsim or military simulation. As the name implies, this is an event or a place that you can go and participate in activities that are a simulated infantry experience. And other times, they could be specialized forces experiences. But the goal is that key second word, simulation. Many companies utilize the term Milsim for their own events, when the vast majority of the time, they are large-scale, force-on-force engagements utilizing airsoft guns in a cool venue. And these have their own time and place. However, one company in particular claims to be the only Milsim, and I'm sure if you're watching this channel, you can probably figure out which one that is. However, I'm here to tell you that that's not true. This is simply a marketing tactic, because as you can see, especially on the online echo chamber forums, this idea is perpetuated. And I don't necessarily disagree that they are one of the top Milsim producers worldwide. They take extremely large-scale force-on-force engagements in cool environments to the next level, with the leadership, organization, and command structure that happens each and every event. Not to say that they are without flaw, but they do it in one of the best ways. But that's not the only company that can take large opposing forces, place them against each other, have a structure of command that is very realistic, that can use real-world equipment, real-world tactics, and real-world context to make their event something special. And that's why today I wanted to bring up one example of a company that is smaller, but doing the exact same thing, and in my opinion, to a bit of a better level. This is Broken Arrow Events. This small and niche but dedicated community was founded in the 2010s. Broken Arrow Events specifically focuses on historical Milsim, which is something that, while other companies have dabbled with in the past, I have not seen a single other event producer do it as well as these guys. In full disclosure, I am 100% biased in this. I've been a base staff member for 3 years now and love every single second of it, which is why I wanted to share it with you guys. What I feel a lot of the community is experiencing is sort of a stagnation. So many companies are fizzling out and so many are not changing with the times. So you go to these events and you find yourself doing the exact same thing, paying exorbitant amounts of money to go be cold and go have a little bit of airsoft time and hang out with your buddies, and naturally that's kind of what the infantry experience is. However, as soon as you get there, you got a weekend to kind of enjoy it. Broken Arrow Events does this entirely differently. And what we do is bring the participants back to the US or North Vietnamese forces of the 1960s. Occasionally, we dabble in the early 70s as well. But this is way more than a 40-hour event. From the moment you step foot on base, you are in immersion. Because guess what? Even if you show up on Thursday night, people will have been there the Saturday prior. We are building that base. We are holding midweek events. We are starting combat patrols as early as Tuesday, but the main combat portion kicks off Friday morning and goes until Sunday. So not only are you experiencing that 40 hours of continuous combat, this is an entire experience. And let me tell you a little bit about it. This is my 5th year attending Broken Arrow Events. I have seen so much change and so much growth that I am every single year more excited for the next. The Bay community primarily focuses on the Northeast. We've had events all the way as far north as Upper State New York and as far down south as Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. We've hosted events in New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and a couple more. And we're always looking for a new venue to attend. We don't stagnate at the same 1 or 2 locations. We're always bringing something fresh to the table. So here's what it looks like. Let's start at the very beginning of the week. On one of the last Saturdays in July, and sometimes even Fridays, the core group of staff, as well as many attendees that would like to, head up to the venue and begin setting up camp. This is in the form of a tent city, as well as many other fire-based accoutrements. We've set up mortar pits, dug foxholes, created bunkers with sandbags and tin roofs, set up rows and rows of GP medium tents, GP smalls, admin tents, cooking tents, and a truck setup. Once all of the fire base is set up, we engage in tons of different period style activities. There's baseball games that we host with our own teams and jerseys. We have a mess tent where you can buy meal passes and get meals that are cooked for you on the base. Of course, I recommend supplementing it with your own food, especially stuff that you're going to take out into the field, but that's huge. We have a fully functioning and stocked PX where you can buy souvenirs from the event, sell your own equipment, and buy other things that people are no longer using. In fact, I saw some crazy trades just last year. We have movie nights, we have poker nights, we've even hosted Christmas parties in the past to fit the timeline that we're reenacting. And this is only the tip of the iceberg of things you can experience at a Bay event just throughout the week. One of my personal favorites is the marksmanship course. It's one that I run, and we get to have a little bit of trigger time prior to everybody finally showing up towards the end of the week. And I would say most guys are there by Wednesday. If they haven't already helped set up the week prior, they are enjoying time on the base, spending time with a small but strong group of people that is the Bay community. It's during this time we stage small patrols to take us through the jungle, get a little bit more of a lay of the land, and get our feet wet, so to speak. It's also during this time that we're able to share a lot of quality time with our squad mates. With multiple platoons attending this event on the GI side and many, many cells on the North Vietnamese Army side, you'll find plenty of time to experience everything that the base has to offer. And that brings us to the combat portion of the event. By Thursday night, we have a large get-together, and we do sort of a collective briefing prior to event step-off, officially on Friday morning. And from there, there's no stopping. Your rucksacks are packed, you're doing PCIs, you're loading every magazine that you can, and you are stepping off into that jungle. Each year brings a new twist, but generally, you can expect at least one remain overnight out in the bush. One of my favorite experiences from my first Bay event ever was listening to the creeping, crawling PAVN all around us in our patrol base. It got to the dead of night when we hear loudspeakers spewing propaganda, allowing the enemy forces to creep even closer. Grenades come flying into our bunkers, wiping so many of us out. We're using our angle heads, conducting mad minutes, and defending to the last round. And that's an experience I don't think you can get anywhere else. But that's not where it ends. In addition to remain overnights, you are conducting heavy patrols, rain or shine. Another favorite memory of mine was from last year's event when we were cresting a hill. We were suspecting an ambush from PAVN forces, but found none. So the cat and mouse game began. And as the rain started pouring, soaking all of our tiger stripes to a deep black, we maneuvered, scouted, and were able to ambush the PAVN who were waiting for us. And that was incredibly awesome. We came back drenched, soaked, and in pain, but every single one of us had a smile, and that was such an awesome engagement. Now, with that being said, the combat portion is going to be different for every single attendee. Sometimes we're going to hit patrols that have zero contact at all. But the best part is, you don't know when that's happening. Patrols are real-life patrols. You could run right into a battle. You could avoid one for multiple. But as soon as that grenade pin is pulled, you know you're living it. And that's my favorite part about Broken Arrow events. Immersion is not broken once, from the moment you step on base to the moment you leave. Now here's the thing, it sounds involved, and yeah, you're not gonna be able to run multicam or an M4. You're going to need specific equipment. But let me be honest with you, if you work hard enough, follow a lot of the guides that we've written, it's not that bad. There are plenty of reproduction items out there that can help you get a much more affordable start than buying all original pieces. And also keep in mind, if this is your first historical Milsim event, you're not alone. We have tons of people who have never played Airsoft before, but enjoy reenacting, who experience our event for the first time. And simultaneously, we have people who have only done pickup games at their local field that are experiencing Milsim and dive into the world head first, and it is incredible to see them flourish their first year. The typical breakdown for a GI soldier is your jungle fatigues. Most opt for third patterns, which although not necessarily period correct for some of the older time periods that we push to once in a while. You're gonna need your M1 steel pot helmet with your Mitchell pattern helmet cover and nothing in the helmet band. We don't like any of that hippie stuff. You need your M16A1 or XM16E1, jungle boots, full M56 web set, and a rucksack filled with spare clothes, food, and a ranger roll to sleep in. We recommend at minimum 2 ponchos. If you only have one, you can make it work. As always though, you should hit 2. Now I will say the rucksack is probably one of the most expensive parts, so we do allow certain alternatives. On the GI side, the lightweight rucksack is what you want, but certain things like a tropical rucksack or a World War II mountain pack is acceptable still, even though not nearly as common as the lightweight. However, if you really had to, you can make it work with a butt pack. It's not recommended, but it is still a viable option. On the PAVN side, the equipment is quite a bit easier, although some of it is a little harder to find. Most attendees run an AKM or a Type 56 style replica. You're going to need a tan uniform, and there are many reproduction manufacturers that make this. However, we also encourage custom making your own or modifying existing work type uniforms. Your pith helmet is going to have helmet scrim and a net, or it might be barren. But take a look at the reference photos and the documents for this kit as well as the GI kit, because we pretty much have everything laid out there. And I will say, because the majority of my experience is with the GIs, that you are going to need a couple extra things to live comfortably on base, including a cot and a foot locker and as many spare socks as you can muster up. But aside from that, those are really all the requirements that you need gear-wise. So let me tell you how to get involved in Broken Arrow events. Bay runs multiple events throughout the year, including a field infantry training, an FTX land navigation course, a Mike Force or Mobile Guerrilla Force event early on in the summer, our large end of summer event that is kind of the one I've been referencing most times in this video, as well as an event or two that dabbles throughout the year, maybe something smaller, maybe more of a local field get together, but an event nonetheless. And let me break down what each of these events looks like so you can maybe pick which one is best for you to start out with. Although 10 out of 10 times, I would recommend signing up for the large August event. Field infantry training typically happens around the Long Island area on Old Bethpage Village Restoration. And this is a place where you go and you're not going to experience any combat, but you're going to get real world training from real life military veteran cadre. You learn how to properly use all of your equipment, learn how to bound, learn how to move, and there is 100% a difference in attendees that go to this event and show up to the big August versus those who never do any training themselves and show up not knowing what to do in August. FTX is a far smaller event, but this field training exercise is typically a land navigation course. While we recommend this for those in squad leader or above positions in the base sphere, we're also 100% okay if everyone else attends. It's a lot of fun and more of a camping with the boys experience, although you have to navigate some uncharted lands on your own, which is pretty darn cool. It's a very safe and structured environment and one that the staff knows pretty well, so you're gonna have a great time no matter what. Mobile Guerrilla Force is what we typically consider the best of the best. It is very small, it is living out of your rucksack, and engagements can happen 100% of the time, anytime, anywhere. It is very hardcore and typically very small, but it's a great chance to break out your tiger stripes. And the Big August event is one that I've already told you about, but by far my favorite year after year. There is so much community that goes into it and so much involved. You can go every single year and always are going to find something new to experience. It's such an incredible show of camaraderie and community that I love it so much. So hopefully you would too. Now with that being said, it may seem daunting to jump into it. So I've played a bit of both sides and I highly encourage you to reach out to me or the founder of Broken Arrow Events, Liam Wachter. He's a fantastic friend of mine and I absolutely love what he does and I support him in all of these endeavors, which is why I wanted to join staff. So feel free to reach out to me and check out brokenarrowevents.com to understand all the kinds of events and maybe pick up some cool merch. We have some pretty cool period style items. We work with some companies on there as well. So give it a look because without a doubt, the Milsim Industrial Complex has lied to you. There's not only one true Milsim. There is a way to do Milsim, and that's what I think Broken Arrow Events does best. So this is the Gear Locker. Join a Bay event and we'll see you out in the bush.